What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video of Bad Life. Today we got a treat for you guys. We got a 335 in here for some work. So I suspect that the turbochargers are blown on this. This car has some very bad rattling. At first it started off as what may seem like wastegate rattle. Very slowly car started to lose boost, and now no boost at all. It's misfiring, and I suspect that first of all, the first issue, the turbo is going bad, and that has to get solved. So you can hear it. It's not running the best. Firing out the back, under the hood. You guys can see N54. This is a 2007, hard to get to, so you know that you guys can actually see even the smoke coming off the vehicle. So we're about to start the turbo replacement. So first thing you want to do, you want to, personally, when I start working on cars and I start doing like a big job like this, I personally like to disconnect the negative terminal on the battery. You guys can see right there, there's the oil drain bolt under the car. You're gonna want to drain the oil out of the motor from there. Alright, so right now I'm gonna start taking off the expansion tank, and before I do that, as the oil is slowly draining out, I'm gonna take off the front wheels. We will need to remove the control arms at some point off the subframe. This expansion tank out, we want to start taking out the vacuum canisters. So there's a 10mm right here. You just take these two vacuum lines off, and then all the way down there there's another 10mm. Take both of those off, and then this whole bracket should come out with the canisters bolted to it. If you're reinstalling, obviously you just want to keep those on, so when you're putting it in, it's easy to install. And then we can get to removing this right here, and then the other hose that's on the bottom side. Alright, so there was actually 3 of those studs. So there was a 10mm nut right there, one right there, and then there's a 10mm bolt there that was holding the cans, the vacuum canisters, and then there was 2 vacuum lines on the bottom side. So 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom side, and then it comes right out. Now for the expansion tank, we got a hose down here. You want to unclip that, pull that off, unclip this, pull it off, 2 10mm bolts, and then this comes right out. Alright, so after taking out the coolant expansion tank and the vacuum canisters, you want to start going after this area right here, Wastegate Solenoids. Wastegate Solenoids. So you want to remove these wastegate solenoids, both of these, and then after that we're going to start trying to remove the heat shield under that's on top of the turbo. Now that the wastegate solenoids are out of the way, we have, as you guys can see right there, an E8. It's an external Torx right there, and we have 3 of those under this metal shield. So that's right here, and we got to take those off with the external 8mm Torx. Alright, so we took this heat shield out. That was the last place that we left off, and now it's time to go under the car and start removing the suspension component, and then remove the whole sway bar. Well, we're gonna start off by removing the sway bar links off the sway bar first. So I believe these are 2 17mm. You can use 2 17mm, 1 open wrench, and socket and ratchet on one side to take that off. Alright, so next we're going to remove Got both sway bar links off, as you guys can see right there. Next we're gonna remove these two tabs right here. It's the 8mm, and then we're gonna remove the nuts that hold this sway bar bracket that holds the bushing and the sway bar. We're gonna remove those next, and we should be able to drop the whole sway bar. Alright, now we're gonna work on getting the power steering rack off. So we have to take the tie rods off, the knuckles, but before we start taking the whole power steering rack off, I suggest just good security, good insurance here, that you guys lock the steering wheel. So I know that with the key not in the ignition, the steering wheel doesn't lock, but just like I said, extra insurance. Okay, so we got the studs right here, and we're gonna install these. So I'm gonna clean up here a little, wipe it down, maybe a little brake clean action over there, and then we're gonna get this on the studs. Okay, so scratch what I said before. Here's the oil feed for the rear turbo. So I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna actually put it on the rear turbo because it'll be kind of hard to put it on when the turbo's in the car. Put oil on the O-ring, so like on the back side, like this. Just stick it in like so. Alright, so as you guys can see, we have the feed line on the back of the rear turbo, and I also put the drain line on. This looks like the rear turbo is ready to go on. Alright guys, so I have the new manifold bolts on the studs. I got the turbo in place. I put this drain line into the oil pan. I put the feed line on before I put it on. That's right here, and everything is tightened. So now I'm gonna go and tighten the manifold bolts now. Get this nice, snug and tight, and then we're gonna move on to this side on this turbo, on this side, the front side turbo. Alright, so now the bolts are torqued down to 14.75 foot-pounds. I just use my torque wrench, torque them down. Alright, so after I had torqued down the manifold nuts, I ended up putting this coolant pipe back in that goes to the back of the water pump that sits in this area. I put the heat shields back under, and I screwed in the external, the E8 Torx behind them, so they're kind of dangling in place right now. We still have to put the coolant lines through here and into the middle of this pipe through there. So I didn't put all the hardware in there yet. As of right now, this car is going to have relocated inlets. So all these inlets, this inlet here and that inlet back there on the rear turbo, we're not going to be using, like I said. So as of right now, this is going to be the stopping point for today. And tomorrow we'll continue when we have the relocated inlets. So I'm doing a couple maintenance items while I'm in there. Spark plugs, coils. As you guys can see, these spark plugs are shot. I believe the car started like burning oil. I think the turbos were sending oil through the intake system and stuff. As you guys can see, look how much oil is coming out of that inside there. It's pretty ridiculous. So right now I'm working on removing the inlets down there. I'm actually pulling off the front one. It's right here. So it's two T30 bolts right here. There's this clip or I don't know, mount that holds this Mickey Mouse hose, and then you could just pull the inlet from the front of the turbo and everything. It goes on the bottom side of the intake, and then you got to pull this off that go to the diverter valves. Alright, so I'm removing the rear inlet now. So these clips for the diverter valves, or whatever they're called, are a little tricky. I think you're really supposed to hold these down and twist to the left, but what I do is put a flathead screwdriver in here and just pry this over to the left just to get it started and just be able to twist it off. These actually go to the stock diverter valves right here, right there. So that's how you get this off. There's a plug going to this right here. It's like a breather hose, I think, for the PCV right there. And then there's two tabs right here. You have to pry it left and then pry to the right here and pull this up. That was a little tricky to get that off. And then there's two T30 bolts that are kind of hard to see, but they're back there. You have to unscrew those, and then this whole inlet will be able to come off. So I got inlet right here secure. This is the ARM relocated inlet kit. As you can see, there's one inlet running up there. There's the ARM logo. Got the rear inlet secured, and they are on the turbos, not slipping off or anything, and they come up right here. Alright guys, so I'm gonna work on now changing this PCV valve and removing this crankcase hose, because with the new relocated inlet it's gonna be a 90, so it's gonna come out this way to a 90 right into the rear inlet there. That's what I'm working on taking off. I believe these are, I think they're 14s, but I'm gonna remove this fuel injector, fuel rail line, and then get cracking on removing these. Alright, now that I got the fuel line out of the way, I'm removing the PCV valve. So this is a 13mm open wrench, combination wrench, and you're just going to twist this to the left until this whole thing comes out. So here's the cover. It's supposed to be an O-ring on that. Alright, so this was sort of stuck in there. This is the old one, and this is a new one. This is a VTT. I believe that's Vargas Turbo Technology. It's a different PCV valve. Stock one right here. These tend to gum up, cause oil burning and excessive oil consumption and stuff. So we are doing the valve cover gasket, but I was just replacing this right now since I took off that right there and the whole rear inlet. I might as well just do this right now. So I removed this piece right here. So this off of this end right there, and I'm gonna remove this whole crankcase hose, so we can use the hose and the 90-degree bend that they gave us, so we can get this PCV connection into the rear inlet. Now to remove the stock charge pipe and diverter valves, and to install the charge pipe. Alright, so blow-up valve, solid blow-up valve is in. ARM, sleeve, whatever, and then the whole charge pipe. And silicone vacuum line going to the manifolds from the top of the ball pop. I still gotta figure out this whole vacuum canister placement. I've heard some funny things if you remove, like funny things happen when you remove these, so I'm trying as hard as possible not to remove them, so I'm still figuring out placement for things over here. Alright, so we got the blow-off valve in, relocated the coolant tank, started putting the inlets in, but I'm going to do that last after I get the subframe back on. Most importantly, one of the things we did was we ran the coolant level sensor, extended it and ran it all the way to the under the tank there. And then, what we were really here for in this video was the turbo. So we got VRSF catalyst downpipes, the turbos, VRSF outlets, we got the ARM inlets, ARM Motorsports inlets, all the cooling components are back in, and I'm actually in the process of putting the subframe back up.
Felix, yes, what do you think?
Came out pretty good. Came out pretty good. I'm surprised that it's running the way it's running, but that was the plan from the beginning. It was to get it back running, boosting, and working right, and it is. It was
crazy install.
pretty rough, but we got it done. There was a lot of waiting for parts and stuff, but everything is done. You guys can see, like I said, and I mentioned before, we did the inlet relocation, the RSF outlets, located outlets, and catalyst downloads from the RSF. So nothing too crazy. Oh, and the charge pipe blow off out, but like I said, nothing too crazy. And it came out nice. It runs good. It makes moves well, and I'm sure the customer's gonna be happy to pick this up. But that's gonna be it for us today. If you guys like the video, please like, subscribe, share the video, please. You know, we see that a lot of the people that watch our videos aren't subscribed, so please, it would help a lot if you guys can subscribe. And if you guys like the videos, bro, please hit the like button, bro. What's up, yo? Damn, tell them something, bro.
Listen, you told them.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? But if you guys are really rocking with us, please, like I said, subscribe, like, share, and you know, if you guys like stuff like this, you know, come back for more content. So, Valve Life out.